And now for our feature presentation.
So you and I and Pauline
Yes.
went to go see this film
Monday, Tuesday, somewhere
it was
around there.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Friday now.
It is Friday now, so it's still pretty fresh in our heads.
Yeah.
What did you think of this movie?
Okay, I wanna allow me to start
Sure.
with this. This was the one, right? This was the one where I was like, something's got to give.
Yep.
Phase 4 was not good. It was not bad.
Because this technically isn't part of Phase 4.
This is the beginning of Phase 5.
Yes.
This is how they're starting Phase 5. A lot of people on the internet are talking about how they didn't like this movie. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. I was like, I had set my expectations very low. I was like, this
Same.
is the one that's going to either everyone's wrong and it's fantastic, or this is going to start a discussion of like, what are we doing over here at Marvel? But I'll be fucked if I didn't really enjoy that
Same.
movie. That was,
Same.
dare I say, a good movie.
Yes. No, it absolutely was a good movie. I'm in the same boat. I don't understand what everybody's crying about. I'm not to say this movie was perfect. I'm not. We're gonna get into. I have issues about this movie, and we're gonna get into them.
Yeah, and I'm interested to get into those because I think you and I have a completely separate list of issues.
Probably. But I've been rating every Marvel movie out of 5.
Out of 5.
And I thought really hard about this one. I think this one gets a 3.75.
Okay.
And I can't quite explain why it's not a 4. I think the reason I'm holding back from a 4 is the movies that I've given a 4 to in the past are better than this movie. I can say that.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But it was a solid MCU entry.
Yeah.
A great way to kick off the Phase 5, and just
That's what I thought too.
It was a real palate cleanser from Phase 4 of just like, hey, you know this guy? No, you don't, but also we're not going to tell you much about him anyways.
Well, also, Phase 4 really, for you and me personally, just sort of ended with a whimper. Like, I think you and I both have the same opinion of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which it's not great, but it's not terrible. It just sort of happened.
Hey, it was a middle-of-the-road MCU
That's
film.
what I was expecting to feel from this
Same.
movie. I feel way better about this movie.
And I think I can... I mean, making the... Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I also didn't compare the last Marvel film we just saw. The last piece of Marvel anything that we saw compared to this movie. And it hits the areas that I have issues with Black Panther movies. The biggest one, and this is the one I really want to talk about the most, is it pushed forward the entire MCU plot.
Well, see, that's the issue that a lot of people are having with this movie because they feel like that's all the movie did.
But you know what? I feel like what is the Ant-Man entries in the MCU unless... What are they, if not his introduction, a way to show how Endgame is going to work out, and then continuing to put... Like, I feel like that's where you put it. If the new Captain America movie came out, and it's all about... I always say Kang, but it's Kang.
Kang, yeah.
And it's all about Kang. I think I'd be a little bullshit. We have a new Captain America. I want to learn about This is Ant-Man. Who gives a shit? Make it about Kang.
If I can make a separate point,
sure.
I disagree with the people who are complaining about this, not because just because I disagree, but because I think that this was a good movie. Like I think like
Yeah.
the people who are arguing like these movies should be viewed in a vacuum and that you shouldn't make a movie that's just like chapter 1 of a 6-part series. Fuck all that. This movie wasn't that. It was a good movie. I think this movie had a conclusive Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. It tied everything back around to the beginning of the movie at the end. I think it was a good movie. I feel like I have to defend myself because this movie is getting a lot of hate, a lot of undeserved hate for a very specific reason, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But as far as the like whole like, oh, it's bullshit that they made a movie that's just chapter 1 and I disagree. I think that this movie was that, but that's not all this movie was. No. I think this movie was an enjoyable movie. Obviously, don't watch it if you haven't seen at the very least Ant-Man 1 and 2. And in my opinion, obviously, you should probably watch Infinity War and Endgame.
Sure.
But
hey, Toga, welcome on in.
Hello, welcome on in. I hope you're not listening because we're going to spoil Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania pretty harsh here in a sec. But no, I think it was a good, solid movie, and I think it could definitely be viewed in a vacuum.
Absolutely. Honestly, though, with this series and a handful of others, that conversation has been null and void for a long time. If you're jumping in for one Marvel movie, that's your fault.
Well,
at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you've never seen a Marvel movie, you go to see Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, fuck off.
Don't start with Toy Story. What are
4.
we on?
It was 4.
Yeah.
She started with 4.
You're going to have a bad time. Oh, is everything good?
I'm looking directly into the camera, so if she ever watches this, she'll know.
I see. We're calling her out.
Yeah. Don't name her.
No.
Not because I wouldn't, just because she knows.
You know why I won't name her? You know why I won't name her?
Yeah, what?
Because the audience should know who we're talking about. Because we've had an episode. We've had an episode of one of our podcasts with her on it. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing watching this one right now?
A million years
Go
ago.
back and watch that one. I'm just kidding.
A trillion billion years ago.
I'm just continuing the joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Okay.
I get it. Can't wait for her review of TS5. Anyways.
Can't wait for any of our reviews of TS5.
On pins and fucking needles for that film, but not as much as the new Mario movie. Let's talk. No.
No, but so that conversation, you're absolutely right. I think that conversation's null and void. Anyways, though, if you bring it up now, you're just it's what do they call it? You're just looking to have somebody click on your article. I mean, it's not it's clickbait. You're not adding to the conversation anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That.
But this movie. You're absolutely right, though. If we are going to talk about that null and void conversation, you're still wrong. This movie worked as its own film.
And I promise we're gonna stop talking about Black Panther 2 soon. But if you take that null and void conversation over to Black Panther, I feel like they went in the complete opposite direction, where that movie is stuck in a vacuum and there's absolutely no connection to anything else.
Okay, let's. Yes, the reason I liked Ant-Man in the Wasp, in Quantumania, 3, whatever.
You could call it. Very early on, I like this way more. Nando V Movies, like 5-6 years ago, did a pitch for Ant-Man 3, and he called it Ant-Man and the Wasp and Ant-Man,
which
I like
would have worked in
which
this.
Would have worked for this movie, unfortunately.
But the reason I thought this was refreshing, the reason I was like, the MCU, was it forwarded. I did it again.
You did. You said the word. What's wrong with the word forwarded?
I thought it wasn't a word.
Yeah, it is. Forwarded the plot. Forwarded the. I see.
Right. It pushed forward the plot of the entire MCU. Beyond that, though, we've now introduced a new potential Young Avengers character.
Yes.
I mean, this movie
and we will
progressed
get into that.
Not just the MCU, but the Ant-Man story. And how much are you looking to get out of Ant-Man? I mean, I got the amount that I wanted.
Right.
Also, I now know, like how they teased Thanos for like 10 years. I can now see a direction.
Mm-hmm.
We've been out in the fog, out in the middle of the ocean, and I can see
Which I think was
the lighthouse.
As far
it
as
absolutely
season, as far as Phase 4 was concerned.
They went too far. Yeah,
I think they might have. I think they were in some way trying to recapture the
introducing new characters every other day, right?
Yeah, they were just trying to like recapture what they did in Phase 1 to an extent. Obviously, you can't completely do that because like the first thing in Phase 4 was WandaVision, which is connected to like 4 or 5 different other characters. So you can't really do that. But like I feel like that's what they were trying to manufacture a little like, and you know, it was hit or miss. I feel like
there was some
Shang-Chi
great
was really
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Eternals was not. You know, it goes on. You know.
But this really, it feels like Phase 4 felt like we thought there was one more step in the dark going upstairs, and there isn't, and we're just falling. That immediate thought is what Phase 4 was, and I feel like Ant-Man the Wasp is hitting.
Yeah, we
finally hit the floor.
Landed with Quantumania.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, all right, okay,
yeah,
we're here. Let's get into the stuff that we like.
So I want to. There's a few things I want to. I want to like touch on.
Sure.
What did you think of? Because we've technically met this character before, but this is the third new actress playing this character. What did you think of Ant-Man's daughter?
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. She was okay. She was okay. She wasn't my favorite part of this movie.
Right.
Or anything like that. She played her part. She was the co-star of the movie.
Do you want to know what I the whole movie I was like,
she looked familiar, right?
Yeah, did you look her up?
I didn't look her up, but she looks familiar.
She plays Lucy, the character who has the Psyduck in Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's been in anything else.
Not that I could see, not anything that I'm really like, you know, stuck out to me.
Is she actually young, or is she...
She's 26.
Yeah,
currently.
Okay, that's what I figured.
So
she might be in like a TV show or something.
I think she was like 18 or 19 when they were filming Detective Pikachu.
Christ, is that movie that old?
Oh, yeah, dude. That movie's from like 2016 or something, right? Yeah. What is her name? Catherine...
Oh, I don't know.
Catherine Newton. It came right up because I just Googled her the other day. Yeah, 26 years old, Detective Pikachu 2019. Oh, she was also the main character in Paranormal Activity 4. Get fucked.
Yeah, that's probably what I know her from.
Gary Unmarried, Big Little Lies, The Society, Supernatural, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. What else you in, girl? Bad Teacher, PA4, Lady Bird, 3 Billboards. She's been in some stuff.
Yeah, definitely Paranormal Activity.
And then, of course,
is what I know her from.
Of course, Detective Pikachu, as previously mentioned. Yeah, Lucy Stevens, the PI with the fake PI with the Psyduck.
Sure. But your question was, did you like her? I thought she was okay. I mean, you know what I noticed in her performance?
Yeah.
She is trying faintly enough that I noticed it, but I thought it was a nice touch. She's trying to put a little Paul Rudd's Ant-Man into her performance, which I think is okay. You're playing his daughter, and you want your character, like, assuming we are going into a Young Avengers phase, you want that legacy of this. I don't know how to describe Paul Rudd's Ant-Man on the spot, but you want that style of comedy.
If we're gonna watch a Young Avengers thing, and some and or most of these characters are the literal children of the old Avengers, you're gonna want to feel like you're gonna want Hulk's kid to act a little bit like Mark Ruffalo. You're gonna want Wanda's kids to, like, maybe one of them's more like Vision, maybe one of them's more like Wanda. No, you're absolutely right. But I think we're getting to the point where we have enough characters where I feel confident saying, like, I really do think we're getting a Young Avengers thing.
They're not even really hiding it anymore.
No, I don't think they are at all. Because we, other than Isaiah Bradley's kid, who is like an actual character in the comics but not really in the show so far, we have Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, not Hawkgirl. Hawkgirl's DC. Hawkeye, I think she's just called Hawkeye, but Kate Bishop's Hawkeye. We have Wanda's kids. Obviously, they're... who knows what's up with them. And then we have Hulk's son, and now we have Cassie, who doesn't have a superhero name, unfortunately. But, you know, I thought she was neat. At one point, it's a little confusing tangent. At one point in this movie, they get really huge and they take the helmets off. I thought they weren't supposed to do that. I thought he makes a point in Civil War to, like, only undo the helmet when he's small again. When he's normal size.
Yeah, no, I had the same thought. Not only did I have the same thought there, but they entered the quantum realm with no suits,
Mm.
which they made a huge point in Endgame, being like, we need special suits to do
They
this.
literally they went so far as to make everyone wear an Ant-Man helmet.
Yeah. Misfit, hello.
Hello.
Welcome on in. We're talking Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania right now, so if you haven't
so
seen
if you don't want spoilers, maybe mute us.
yeah, maybe mute. We do in an hour, though. We have another podcast. We're going to be talking about video game news and stuff like that.
Pokemon.
Feel free to join the conversation, though. We don't want you to think you have to run away. If you've seen Ant-Man or you don't care about spoilers, welcome on in.
Yeah.
If not, we'll hopefully see you in like an hour. But yeah, they definitely got a little loosey goosey with the rules on the suits.
Yeah.
And I was almost gonna say the same comment on getting big, because she was like big and fine, and I was like, Ant-Man passed out after like 2 minutes last time.
Right.
But
that could be like the first time it was him experimenting, because he literally said like, I shouldn't do this in Civil War, and then he does it, and then maybe they've perfected the tech since then. But like, have they perfected it so much that you can be shot into the quantum realm while wearing normal clothes?
Oh, that
that was a little like,
there wasn't an explanation for
obviously
that.
In Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is just what that movie's called, right? The second one. Yeah. When they go meet Michelle Pfeiffer, she's not in a quantum suit.
Right.
She's just, so obviously you can survive down there, but like they made a big deal about like, no, everyone, even Rocket Raccoon, has to have a fucking Ant-Man helmet on.
Yeah. But I haven't seen it, but I'll leave you on. Oh my God, Pokemon!
For that. Okay,
yes,
cool. Yeah,
no, we are absolutely talking about Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
In an hour, we will be here, and we hope to see you there. Definitely, tell us your thoughts in chat once we're there. And you'll know too, because like it won't be this cute little curtain.
We'll be in a newsroom.
Yes. Isn't it crazy, the production value on this channel?
I know. They don't know that every single one is a new green screen setup that our crew moves in behind us.
It's not easy.
It's not easy
making this look like a bedroom either.
Right, yeah. It's not easy making this look like a lived-in, messy bedroom. A weird set choice, I know, but it's worked so far.
So you just brought up, let's talk about Quantum Realm and living in the Quantum Realm.
Yeah.
I had some mixed emotions entering this Quantum Realm universe, village, whatever you want to call it, society.
Yeah. They do say that it's its own universe.
I get it, but is the concept not like they could be living in between the atoms of this chair?
Right. No, I think that it's like,
is this not Horton Hears a Who style universe?
I don't think it is. No, I think it's like the low key, the most high concept thing they've ever done. It's a different universe, but it's just one that is so small that it exists in its own. Like, it's
okay. I think I get what you're coming at.
It gets a little muddy when like they resurface and they're back right where they left on the same Earth, and it's like, well, why does that matter if this is its own universe? Stuff like that. But I'm not gonna like be like, why didn't you explain all this, Marvel? This is a lot of stuff, a lot of lore I don't know. I don't care. I don't trust Marvel to like nail that stuff.
Sure, it's confusing for me, the viewer, though, and if you're right, my point here is probably null and void, but I'm watching this and I'm like, this is giving me some real Star Wars vibes. Not complaining. I love I love that. I love that for this.
I love that for me.
Yeah. But I was just like, is this not Earth but super small? Why are there alien species but they're super small?
Right. Yeah, it seems like it's definitely like easy.
You gotta write some shit down. Oh, no. It's slip bump.
It seems like it's easy to get stuck there, which I guess is the point. Like maybe the quantum realm is its own universe that does only exist in like the atoms of Earth 616. But it seems like it almost seems like Marvel is trying to like shoehorn in their own Phantom Zone from the DC, where it's like the quantum realm's not like a hell jail, but like if you get stuck there, you're kind of stuck there.
Right. It's cool. I like the concept. They've already used it. I like. They used it twice in a major way in kind of a similar. There's similar topics around the quantum realm, but they made them feel very different.
Yeah.
It's their way they got around the Thanos has already done the snap.
Right.
Because they used it for time travel.
Right.
This time around, they've used it to really introduce Kang to the MCU, because we got introduced to him via Loki.
Little bit.
Right.
He didn't call himself Kang, but he was basically like, I'm Kang, though.
And I feel like I'm very... What's the actor's name?
The actor who played Kang?
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors. I feel...
He's killing it.
I think. Well, I mean, in multiple industries. But I feel like he's doing an excellent job as Kang. I felt the threat of this character.
Yeah.
And that was the big question, and I can't believe they immediately addressed it in the first film of Phase 5.
Phase 5, yeah.
Because I was like, how do you top Thanos? That was a
right.
Like, they went right in there.
Yeah, no, they really and I like the big question mark at the end of the movie, which is this Kang, the one in this movie, referred to himself over and over again as Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Which is the big, huge, famous Kang from the comic books. We all know that Avengers 5 is called Avengers Kang Dynasty. The after the credits scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 shows like thousands, millions of Kangs, right? What Kang is going to be in Kang Dynasty? Is it not going to be the Conqueror? Or is it going to be the Conqueror? Because he's the big one, you know? And he, as far as like Kang looking like Kang goes, he looked great in this movie. He looked just like Kang. They managed to do the blue face and not make it look stupid.
Yeah.
They managed to do the lines on the face and make it not look stupid. And this character was like, this character is my favorite genre of villain, which is just like, I'm so powerful that I'm not even gonna move if I don't have to. Like, if you notice, like, he literally beat up Ant-Man by like doing this a few times, and like he walked off his throne, got onto a platform that brought him down just so he could stand in front of Janet, and I was like, yeah, good, don't move at all if you don't have to.
It's some Darth Vader vibes, and I dig it. It's very different from Thanos.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're feeding us the next big bad. I feel like this character has a story, and obviously the comics have a lot to thank for that. But it's nice to see them stick the landing thus far on their next big bad, because Thanos in pop culture, I mean, obviously in the comic book world, but in general the pop culture world has become an icon. You had the Joker few years back. You know, I'm blanking on names.
Of what?
The actors.
Oh, Heath Ledger?
Yeah, you had Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, yeah.
And then you have Thanos. I don't know. I'm not saying Kang is going to be the next one, but you've done a good job for me of introducing the next one who has to follow up Thanos.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, even if when they finally Avengers v Kang, even if it's not Kang the Conqueror, it's going to be interesting seeing them fight him, because as far as I can tell, he just has Beholder level 10 death beam that he just shoots at people and then they die instantly. Right. So I don't know how that's going to they're going to combat that.
He's also got Mewtwo style psychic abilities.
I didn't want to sound dumb. Was he giving you Mewtwo vibes from the movie? Yeah. I definitely felt like when I was talking about villains that don't move much, I definitely got Mewtwo vibes where it's just like, I'm here, let's talk. And it's like, no, I want to punch. It's like, no, we're not punching. I'm going to use my psychic and you're over there. Yeah. We're talking. But you get this sense that he could snap at any moment. Yeah. But you also can tell that he's really intelligent to back up his smugness and his overpoweredness. Right.
And honestly, I was thinking about it because I was like, how does this film end with Ant-Man still being alive, Ant-Man having what he wants, having saved the day, but also I'm still afraid of this character.
Right.
And we get to the battle, and it's all the society's trying to essentially fight this one dude at the end.
Right.
And he's holding them back. And I love that he got overpowered by ants who have lived for over 1,000. They did
10,000.
some Gandalf shit.
Yeah.
They did some like I've lived 1,000 years in a day type of shit.
Yeah. 100%.
Which is cool. I'm really excited. Like, I don't know if they left the quantum realm or if they have access to those ants, but that would be cool to like sprinkle in somewhere else down the line in the MCU.
That would be cool for the next like end game style. Like, if you want an army, but you don't want to be like, okay, all these characters again. You just bring a bunch of ants.
Yeah.
Because now they're not just ants that Hank Pym is controlling.
They're
like battle ants.
Yeah.
they're like future bot battle ants that are like hyper intelligent and can like replicate a spaceship.
You can't overuse that. Like, I feel I feel like this was probably their biggest moment that they're gonna have.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna come in clutch again.
I really do love that Kang's ultimate downfall was he got crushed by a bunch of ants. It was very like the kind of humor that these movies always, I feel like, try to go for, and it falls flat a bit.
And he did survive the ants,
right?
Which I also appreciate,
right?
Because it's again just showing like, oh, we can't have. I mean, he's the big bad. We can't have the ants finish him off,
right?
Was not as great of a job as he did, though. Was not my favorite villain of this movie.
Okay, you want to talk about him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is not a joke. I am a lifelong MODOK fan. I've been a fan of MODOK ever since Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. He was playable in that game. Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3, sorry. He was playable in that game. Didn't know who he was. Started playing as him. I was like, this guy's awesome. Like, he all the weapons he has in the comics are in that game, are in this movie. He's got a little move. This is not important, but he's got a little move where he just like kicks his feet at you, which is fucking awesome. And he's also got a very specific voice. He's got a really snively like scientist, like I'm the best. Yeah, that's kind of his voice. So I thought, this is not a joke. I feel like I have to preface that because everyone's shitting on MODOK. I thought that MODOK in this movie was perfect.
I loved him. I loved him.
Thought he was so great when he had the like battle mask on. He looked fine. When he had the battle mask off, he was a big CGI face. People are complaining about that because they thought it looked bad.
How were you gonna
else
do it?
were you expecting? The only legitimate complaint I could see, and I haven't seen anyone complain about this, is that MODOK is supposed to have hair. Obviously, they did a out of the box, like Darren Chris's character is now MODOK, which is not usually how it works. So I can excuse the no hair, but other than like depicting MODOK, that is technically something you got wrong, I guess. But like, come on, like MODOK acted the way MODOK's supposed to act. He was treated the way he was supposed to be treated. Literally every one of his weapons, I was just like it took like 4 or 5 movies with Iron Man in it for me to be like, finally, there's all Iron Man's weapons on screen. MODOK used all of them in one movie, probably because he dies at the end and is probably not coming back. But like,
which is upsetting because I was genuinely rooting for more MODOK by the end of this movie.
No, I really liked him. Okay, so sometimes these movies, I've said this before, and it if it doesn't make sense, apologies, but this is just how I feel. Sometimes these movies stop feeling like a movie and start feeling like a comic book. Like, perfect example, the Snyder Cut of the Justice League movie. That movie, for all of its 4 hours, feels like a movie based on comic books. This movie, more often than not, to me, and I've said this about Infinity War, I've said this about Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I said this about Iron Man 3, this movie, more often than not, felt like the pages of a comic book were on the screen.
Sure.
I could like see my favorite scene in this movie was Kang is talking to Ant-Man and Cassie. They're like behind, they're in jail essentially, and he's talking to them, and he mentions MODOK, and MODOK starts to interject with like, yes, this is where I talk, and Kang like moves a finger and bashes him against the wall, and he's like, don't you ever talk when I'm talking. And then MODOK just fucking like he just snivels away. That like I could like see pages turning. I was like panel 1, Kang's talking. Panel 2, he starts talking. That you just show the fingers in one. I could just like I was like, this is a perfect MODOK interaction, because like the last scene with MODOK was him like fucking shit up, like killing a bunch of people and being super badass, and then you like take it to here, and it's like, no, shut the fuck up, MODOK. Like that's what MODOK is.
Yeah,
and he was also like successfully. This is the funniest Ant-Man movie they've made so far.
Oh,
I found myself laughing at like a lot of this movie. I think that sorry, I almost changed subjects. I think that MODOK was a really great addition to that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I knew you were gonna have a lot to say about MODOK. My sentiments are the same though.
I see the arguments, the complaints about MODOK in this movie online, and I don't agree at all. I saw a quote. It was like yesterday, I think. I forget if it was a producer or a writer or whatever, but like basically who was in charge of this version of MODOK was in an interview, and he fucking stood up for himself. And for the first time in a while, I was like, yes, okay, because this guy was like, I will not agree with the fans on this. I did a really good job making MODOK. I made him perfectly. That's how he was in the comics. That's how he is in the movie. Everyone shut up is basically what he said. And I was like, yes, you're right. You did MODOK really good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm glad he said something. I'm glad he stood up for himself, because and here's the other thing too, whether it was comic book accurate, comic book perfect, it was a good character. Mm-hmm. He did a great job in the movie.
That's what was interesting, because I didn't want to be the first one to bring up MODOK after we were done with that movie. And in fact, you were, because you were basically like, was that true to like the character? Does he usually act like that? Because I really liked him. It was interesting seeing you specifically watch that movie, because I know you've never interacted with MODOK in anything before.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting, because I heard some of the discourse before I saw the movie. I had the fact that MODOK was in the movie spoiled for me a while ago. I didn't really mind. It was actually spoiled by that card game I've been playing.
Oh.
Because they're doing a whole Ant-Man and the Wasp event, and the big prize is MODOK.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I was just curious what you were gonna think of him, because he was. I was sitting there. I was like, I really like MODOK, and then MODOK shows up, and I'm like, I'm really liking this version of MODOK. I hope Chris likes him too. And I was interested to see what you thought. You being someone who's never come in contact with him before.
Sure. We got introduced to a few new characters in this movie. I mean, we got introduced to a lot of new characters, but ones that are probably going to be mainstays, I'd say we got introduced to 3. We got introduced to Cassie, the potential hero, the potential young Avenger. We got introduced to MODOK. We got introduced to Kang, what you're expected of Kang.
Yeah. We got introduced to Kang the Conqueror, which is technically a different character from...
But he called himself... I actually wanted to point this out.
Oh, okay.
He calls himself Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
The other Kangs referred to him as Kang the Banished.
Oh, really?
I think he considered himself the Conqueror. I don't think he actually technically is.
That would be interesting, because you're right. When they're doing like the Council of Kangs, they refer to him as the Banished One. So that could be interpreted as Kang the Conqueror was banished, or he's Kang the Banished, and he thinks, it's interesting. They never really explain, from that perspective, they never really explain why he was banished, because, like, if he was banished because all of the evil shit he was doing, like, then are the other Kangs not evil? Are they not going to do similar stuff? So I wonder exactly why he was banished. I have a feeling we'll never find out. But all that to say, this is different from the character we met in the Loki TV show, which like may or may not even be Kang. Like, obviously he's a clone of Kang. He's a variant of Kang. But he's just referred to as the one who remains, and he never says the word Kang the whole episode. We all just know that that actor's playing Kang. And
I have a feeling the MCU has already spoiled how the Kang dynasty is going to end.
Yeah.
And I assume this is the last standing Kang.
Oh, the one in Loki, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all really confusing. It's all really intentionally ambiguous how all these pieces are going to fit together.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting. Yeah, so a few things I wanted to mention.
Sure.
I really liked Michael Douglas in this movie. He was like a consistent font of comedic moments. I think he is, whether they told him to do this or not, I think he's leaned into the crazy old man, like, professor who lives in his basement, like, motif, like, very well. And I kind of love that he was like at the end of the big battle, he was like, you thought you were gonna save the day with growing, but I saved it with ants. And it's like, okay, dude, all right, we get it, but also great.
In this movie, more than the past ones, I don't know why, but I was looking at him and I was like, that's Ant-Man too. Like, that's weird.
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
Ant-Man.
he was also once Ant-Man. Yeah.
I was really hoping for a full family suit up.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. I feel like if there is, I keep using this term, but who knows if this is actually going to be a thing. But if there is a Endgame style fight at once again, I feel like that's probably happening. I feel like that'd be a good place for that. All 5 of them in an Ant-Man suit.
Michael Douglas, they specified Ant-Man 4, so I don't know if he meant any film in the Marvel universe, but they said, would you come back? He said, I'll only come back if Pym dies.
Oh, so he doesn't want to play this character anymore.
He just wants to lay it to rest, I think.
Okay.
He's in the Harrison Ford stage of...
I mean, it makes sense. If you read any comic, Ant-Man is Hank Pym.
Yeah.
So the fact that they started the MCU with Scott Lang, and then you find out that Hank Pym was Ant-Man for like 40 years already, and you didn't know about it because he was so tiny, which is kind of hilarious, is very interesting. And I think I kind of see where he's coming from, where it's like, how long are you going to keep my character around?
Right.
Maybe that's why they gave him such a big heroic moment in this movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. I think it would be an injustice, whether it be in an Ant-Man 4 or a team up movie, whatever comes next for Hank Pym. It would make sense to conclude the character's arc.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about the Wasp and her purpose in this movie,
which was almost none.
Well, correct. You are 100% correct. However, I think that this, in my opinion, okay, I think that this movie had the perfect portrayal of the Wasp, because if you have it, let's say you're making a comic and you have a team and the Wasp is on it, sure, make her a really cool character. But if you're doing a story about Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it's literally called Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then more words, the Wasp has she's got to be a sidekick, She I feel like the whole second movie, she was trying to steal the spotlight from Paul Rudd. And I guess that dynamic worked. I didn't really love it. I thought she was great in this movie. I thought her costume was perfect. I thought it was great. The wings light up when she flies, which was really cool.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Her hair was just like Janet's hair is supposed to be in the comics, because it's also supposed to be Janet as the Wasp, and the old and the young. We're doing that thing. Hope is actually a completely new character. She was not in the comics at all.
Oh, okay. Is Scott Lang?
I don't know. I'm honestly not sure. I really don't know. I know that Scott Lang is in the weird Avengers game that no one liked, and also MODOK was in that game. If I remember correctly. Never played it. Never will, because they just shut it down. And she, every time she was on screen, she did something really cool. That's where I think I didn't like the last movie with her, and I did like this movie, because in the last movie, every time she was on screen, she did something really cool. She was like a second main character.
Right.
And I feel like I like her more when she is, when she is the sidekick. And every time she did something, every time she punched someone, or when she grabs her parents and falls through a portal, that was really cool. I think she's really cool. I think she's a cool character, and I think everything she did in this movie was super badass and really cool. And I really like that she was on the support. Yeah. She didn't have many lines. She didn't have much to do other than help Scott.
That's fair. I mean, sometimes you need that classic dynamic.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're in an age where it's kind of frowned upon to have a woman character take a step back, but sometimes the secondary character, who is the Wasp in this case,
Right.
needs to take a step back.
Well, the reason I feel like I don't personally have a problem with that for this movie is because there was 3 really strong female characters. 2 of them were essentially a sidekick, and one of them was the mom, who was basically the second main character
Right.
in this movie.
Right.
She was the B plot. So if I think the creators were like, we have Scott, he's doing his thing, and Cassie's sort of helping with that. She's kind of doing her like, I could do it too type arc, which I feel like is a little different from the classic sidekick arc. And then we have Hope and Janet on like Team B or whatever you want to call them. And like halfway through writing, they're like, we're giving Janet a lot of the like plot is about her, and the backstory is about her, and she's leading this team because she's been here before. And I feel like they made a conscious decision to be like, Scott, Janet, let's have everyone else take like a few seats back.
Yeah.
And I think it worked. I don't know. I think
agreed.
It worked.
And you have a storyline where you have 5 people. One is the legacy Ant-Man character, Hank Pym. The other one is Scott Lang, the MCU's Ant-Man. You have the Wasp. You have their kid. You've got a lot of stories you can tell, and I think they did a really good job, like you said. I think they funneled everybody's stories evenly. I think everybody got... Because we've gotten Hank... Because I think that's part of the issue, too, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, is...
lots of Hank backstory.
Well, that's not even a problem. I feel like the mom pops in and we have no connection to her.
Right. And then she shows up in Endgame and you're like, I still feel nothing towards
exactly.
you. Sorry.
So I think
I know you're played by Michelle Pfeiffer, but like you didn't do anything yet.
Right. And I think they had to double down on her story. And I think coming into this film, I don't think there was a going back to Ant-Man and the Wasp. In the reveal of the quantum realm, and somebody lived there. I don't think a civilization was the concept they had originally, because the way she comes out of it looks destitute.
Right.
It looks like she just happened to survive.
Right.
So coming into this movie, I think they were like, well, this character's been doing nothing for 40 years. We got to make her a little more interesting.
Right. That was my other question I wanted to pick your brain about. I know that Marvel usually thinks ahead. Okay. Do you think they thought that far ahead with MODOK? Do you think that at the end of Ant-Man, when he crushed him and flew him into the quantum realm,
no.
that they were like, he's going to be MODOK one day?
No.
You just think that's a nice coincidence that's how he happened to die visually?
Yeah.
Because it is the same writer and director team for all 3 movies.
You know how I know that's not the case? Maybe this would have been a bit too graphic, but in some way or another, they would have decapitated him before sending him to the quantum realm. It's just weird that he's just ahead when we see him again.
Right.
Because that made no sense to me. I was like, is he just ahead? And also, how did his head? I guess Kang remade him somehow.
You just mean the anatomy of MODOK?
Well, yes, and I mean the anatomy of MODOK, but also why did we find him as just ahead when they first saw him?
Oh, yeah. So I think that's because they show it visually. When he is attacking Cassie at the end of Ant-Man 1, he gets all crumpled up and foldy and then shot into the quantum realm. So their excuse was like all his limbs stayed small, but his head stayed big.
But why didn't his head get crushed? You know what I mean?
Because I think that the point was that's a dead weird corpse flying through the space, and then they were like, oh shit, we could make him MODOK.
Oh no. I don't think that thought happened then.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either. I think they looked back and they were like, oh, we can make him MODOK.
Right.
That'd be neat.
I think that's the direction they went in. What you're saying makes sense in universe. Sure, that's why. Out of universe, though, if they had the foresight to be like, we'll save him in our back pocket for a MODOK reveal, I think the way he entered the quantum realm at the end of that movie would have been a bit more thought out. Not
yeah.
saying it was a bad job. I'm just
Right.
saying I think there would have been more intent
Yes.
behind how he entered the quantum realm.
Yeah. So I do have things I wanted to complain about real quick.
Sure.
So
I do as well.
So these are my two big ones.
Sure.
Number one is I want to talk about like when nothing makes sense visually. There like it just does, like so there's a couple scenes in this movie where I feel like I'm supposed to go like, oh wow, cool, but like I don't know what the quantum realm is or how it works, and you've already proven that it's like a like crazy, wildly different like universe that like doesn't operate quite like any other universe we've seen in the MCU. Like there's a scene, the perfect example of what I'm talking about. There's a scene where all three of them are flying on the back of the manta ray, and the manta ray turns and he sticks his fin in the water, and the water is like green, but when he sticks his fin in it, it like turns blue. And I feel like I was supposed to be like, oh wow, cool, beautiful, but I was just like, I don't know, is water supposed to do that here? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't really care.
Cinematically, I love that shot. The
oh no, it was
symmetrical.
It was a cool shot, but I was just like,
I hear what you're saying.
I was just sitting there like, okay.
The mysticism is kind of lost
like
on you.
there was no dialogue. It's happened a lot in the first Avatar movie too. Haven't seen the new one, where I was just like, I feel like I'm supposed to be like, whoa, so pretty, but I'm like, I don't know. This is probably normal for this planet.
Sure.
My other complaint was that kind of toward like the whole entire second act basically was like the Team A, Scott and Cassie, Team B, the other three. They were just repeating themselves. There was a lot of there was a lot of like they find out about MODOK and they're like, "What's MODOK?" And then Team A is like getting attacked by MODOK right away. And it's like they're like, "What is this thing?" And it's like, "Well, we found out about it already." Or it's like this team is like Kang's making an army. And then it cuts to this, and someone on Team A is like, "We think Kang's starting an army." And then it cuts, and it's just like, you're telling me information twice,
right?
Because like there was a lot of Michelle Pfeiffer just like turning and being like, "We gotta go make sure Scott knows about MODOK." And then cut to Scott, and Scott's like, "What's MODOK?" And I'm like, "Yes, you're in two different places. We know."
Right.
Those are my only complaints about the film.
That's fair. One of my major complaints, which might be null and void based off of what we were talking about earlier, is the this universe. If this universe is meant to take place inside Earth, which sounds like it might not, my complaint was going to be, why is it just such an alien-looking planet with alien creatures? My second complaint is the two side characters, neither one of which I can remember their names.
The two side characters?
The one, he has no holes.
Oh, okay.
In the one, I loved his design. I loved his design. Yeah,
the
his
mind
partner.
reader.
No.
Oh.
The guy who's got just a cylinder for a head.
Yeah. What was your issue with them?
They're just Korg in what's
Oh,
his
that's
name?
right. You were telling me
this. What's the other one's name?
Meek.
I always want to say Minx.
You mean
Meek.
the guy who's just like a little bug in a like a scissor suit, right? Who like slices and stuff. You mean him?
Are you talking about Korg and Mink? Or are
Meek,
you talking?
Yeah, I'm talking about Korg.
Yeah. Korg thinks he's dead at the end of
and
Thor
then,
3.
Yeah. Like, oh, guys, Meek's alive. Yeah, that
was pretty good.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not proud of it.
I liked these two characters. Don't do it again. I see the formula. I see the formula you've created. You want to make two third tier fighters that could be third tier characters later down the line.
So you're saying that the holes thing, that was the Korg, and the light head guy, that was the Meek.
Yes, but they switched their bodies.
Yeah.
But yes, you're absolutely correct. I see the formula.
Yeah.
I see the formula.
It's not super weird to imagining Holes alien and Laserface playing Fortnite in Asgard.
Right. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
That's my. It's not even a complaint. It's just you get two. You get two, and you picked your two.
Yeah.
Please don't do it again. I like these type of characters. These are not few and far between, though. Like, spread them out a bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, just the formula of these two versus Korg and Mink, I was just like, kind of the same thing. They're kind of the same exact thing.
Yeah. He's quirky, kind of shy, doesn't really understand a lot about certain things.
Yeah.
He's like he doesn't talk, and he like, or no, he I guess
this one did talk. That's the difference.
Yeah,
this one did talk.
Yeah.
And he also just really wanted to torture people.
He was obsessed with torture. Which
I'm
very
glad
funny.
they didn't. It was funny, and if they had kept harping on it through the movie, it would have not been. My conversation about these two would have changed drastically. I'm glad that they made their joke and stopped.
No, I think I'm right there with you. I think they had a different enough dynamic that I can look the other way, and I'm not sitting here like, you just did Korg and Meek again. But if they do it a third time, I'm going to be hyper-analyzing, like, new video essay, what makes a Korg and Meek?
No, exactly. And I'll be honest, it might not be immediate, but I have a feeling, because clearly they're like, this formula works.
Yeah.
People like these two types of like C-level characters.
Well, the other issue is that, like, I know most, if not all, MCU movies have some moments that are funny, but there are only a few that can be described as /comedy, and I feel like Thor 3 and 4 and the Ant-Man movies are, like, right there. So I feel like we did Korg and Meek in both, and we're not going to do it again. Hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for.
Right.
I'll bite my tongue for Deadpool 3, but, you know.
One other complaint,
yes,
which the movie actually even kind of hinted at the end, is Michelle Pfeiffer's character's reason for not telling anybody about Kang is kind of silly.
Right.
She feels like she did the wrong thing. She literally captured the guy who was going to destroy, as she put it, trillions of lives.
Right.
So, I think conquering the quantum realm is better than the alternative.
Right.
And once she left, even if she thought, I'll never deal with him again, I think I'm quoting you here, she still should have been like, there's a guy named Kang, he's in the quantum realm.
Right, because she leaves him in the quantum realm, and as far as I can tell, based on what she said, she's basically like, okay, Kang's stuck there, I guess.
Right.
And then, like an alternate scenario, Kang launches out of the quantum realm, is like, I'm here, I'm destroying Earth now, and Michelle Pfeiffer's like, fuck, I could have warned Doctor Strange about this.
Right. No, exactly. There was no reason at the end of the day for her to keep that information to herself. Now, having said that, though, this movie ends with Scott keeping the information Kang said to him to himself. So I wonder if they thought about that. I wonder if they had the forethought of being like, oh, you're going to think that her reason's stupid. Well, Scott's going to, in his mind, explain to you the reason why he is also not going to tell people about Kang.
Yeah.
Not saying it's the perfect cover-up. That's why I'm adding it in the complaints section. But like, they did do a little bit of, like, well, he didn't say anything either.
Right. Yeah, I wonder what that is. And you got to wonder, like, we're talking about, like, they're not telling anyone. For all we know, Doctor Strange has known about Kang for years.
Right.
Because that's just how Doctor Strange operates. And when he does shit like that, it's not bullshit, but it was kind of a little like, you really didn't have a good reason, huh, for not telling us about Kang, Janet. Okay. Podcast coming to a close. 2 things real quick I wanted to talk about this movie. One, I can't wait for someone to edit the Attack on Titan theme song with Scott kicking down the wall when he's super huge. It's literally like shot for shot a remake of the Colossal Titan kicking down the third wall in Attack on Titan.
I thought you said Teen Titan. Yes, Attack on Titan makes way more sense. Yes. What do you mean? Wait, make it.
Well, I don't have.
You have to get the footage. Right.
It's
but
still
no
in theaters.
Store that info and get on it.
People who are watching on YouTube heard me go, I can't wait for store that info on YouTube, because I just cut out everything. No, but my other thing is, I can't be the only one, and this is juvenile of me, but when he went into the thing and he started cloning himself, I can't be the only one who thought of that. I don't even, is it Funny or Die when he's at the computer and he's like, generate, like,
yeah.
My immediate thought was like, could the quantum realm generate Tang? Could the quantum realm generate a nude Tang? Dude, nude Tang versus clothed Kang? I'm there for it.
What an old joke.
I know. I just the fucking second he was duplicated, I was like, generate Tang. I dare you. I fucking dare you. Is Tang in there? Make a Tang and then coming out of the bit, I was like, make a Tang reference, MCU. I fucking dare you.
On that note,
we didn't do an honorable mention. I saw Megan. It was really good.
I saw this. Actually, this is real world news that we're not talking about this week, and that's fine.
Oh, okay.
But I saw, forget what it's called, but have you heard about like the Murdaugh murders? Maybe that's exactly what it's called.
Oh yeah, I've heard that name. I don't know what that is.
Holy shit. I won't spoil anything for you, but
okay, but it's good.
The person who, yeah, but in real life, the person who, I mean, the word murder's in the title, just got sentenced today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that has to be a coincidence that the show and this.
Well, I just happened to watch the show today.
Well, the show's new, I think. The show came out like a couple weeks ago, I thought.
The end of the show has the guy, this is literally the last scene of the show. It's a phone call between him and somebody else, and he's like, "Did you hear Netflix is doing a thing on this?"
Oh,
and the show
weird.
ends.
That's super meta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if I can talk on Megan for like a minute.
Oh wait. Oh wait. That's in theaters. The creepy doll girl.
It just got on Peacock.
No shit.
Yeah, creepy doll girl.
That didn't register with me. Sorry.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
dude.
you liked it?
It was good. I'm gonna say what a lot of people on the internet are saying. This movie was good. I can't wait for more Megan. I think that Megan is gonna be after. I feel like in like 2037 we're gonna be seeing like Megan in space, Megan in New York. Like I feel like Megan's just gonna. I think she's
gonna
next,
be one of the classics.
Yeah, I think she's like the next Scream or the next Jason or Freddy or whatever.
That's crazy.
Because the movie was good. A lot of the like really cool stuff, really scary stuff was unfortunately in most of the trailers I saw.
Okay.
But it was a good movie. The main character was the white woman from Get Out.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, haven't seen her in anything since then, so it was cool to see her in a thing. And Megan looked really creepy.
Oh, Langwell, welcome on in. He says Megan is so good.
Yeah, Megan was really good.
Hey,
so actually, oh, sorry.
Sorry, how are you guys holding up? Are you the one who's sick, or is Tsunami?
Yeah, you're one of you is sick, right? And that's
yeah.
why you didn't stream. We're just concerned about our friend Mason.
Yeah, and Chelsea.
Yeah,
depending on which one is sick.
Right. Me and Pauline were while this movie was in theaters, we were having a debate. We could not figure out like if the face was CG or not.
Oh yeah, wait, were you texting Pauline about this?
Oh yeah, we like a couple weeks ago we were like on and off texting about this for a while. Because we just like couldn't figure it out. She was convinced it was practical. I thought maybe it was a real girl but with a CGI face. She was right. It is practical. It's like it's a real actress.
Yeah.
Who has a real like mask on.
Yeah, I could have I've seen behind the scene footage of this movie. I did
yeah,
have
that's
that
how it works.
Info.
Pauline sent me footage of her taking a mask off. And
Maybe
I was like,
I showed
oh my
Pauline
God.
that.
It was me first, then Chelsea, but we're doing better. Thanks for asking. Oh, that's good. That's good that it's passing quickly. It sounds like.
I'm glad
just in time. By the way, we're just about to talk about Pokemon.
We are going to talk about Pokemon. Also, we have that. I'm going to text the group, but we have that Zoom meeting tomorrow night.
Yeah.
If I believe Chelsea was going to be the one who was on it. If she's not up for it, that's totally okay. We can get we can do that info later. It is channel relevant. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, no worries. I don't care. But yeah, Megan was good. I don't know if I saw the unrated version because that's what Peacock offered me. I don't know if there's a difference. Poker Face has one episode left, so I'm going to mention that during honorable mentions next time we do a movie thing.
Honorable mention, I saw the first episode of Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, I did too.
I liked it.
I think I'm gonna like season 3, but I kind of was a little bored with
little
episode
boring
1.
Intro. Okay.
They just got like into like small sector politics right away.
That's
and
fair.
I was
That's
just
fair.
like, all right.
I get that. I
got a little more hype when he met up with Bo-Katan. Also, they tricked me. I thought the whole opening scene was a flashback. I thought it was. I thought it was a flashback to young Mando being christened, and then the Mandalorian shows up, and I was like, because the whole time, my mom was like, "Oh, I really like the armor. I hope nothing bad happens to her in this scene." I was like, "Well, no worries, Mom. It's a flashback. She's fine." And then Mandalorian shows up. I was like, "Oh no, it's not a flashback." But yeah, no, it was fine. I'm excited for more. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe.
Our channel has daily uploads from podcast video essays, Let's Plays to skits.
Be sure to watch on Twitch. We stream all our video game and podcast content live at 5 EST every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Our intro is by Brad Kendrick and music by Froggy and the Friendship. Link to all that in the description below.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.